What's up, Gear Immortals? Trey, Xavier here, and we're back with another edition of Gear God's Quality Control. I could have sworn there was a desk here before. Am I crazy? Oh. And on today's edition of Gear God's Quality Control, we're going to be taking a look at the Universal Audio Amp Sim plugins for electric guitar. Universal Audio is most famous for its outboard hardware, such as the 1176 compressor heard on literally millions of records since the dawn of time. And most recently they've been known for their plug-in versions of some of that hardware, as well as a whole plethora of other cool stuff. Now, today we're taking a look at the Guitar Amp Sim plugins that they're making, which kind of fits in that tradition of taking some old classic hardware stuff and recreating it as faithfully as possible in the digital realm. You may have already seen my Universal Audio Woodworks review, which is a plugin for acoustic guitars and electric guitars with a piezo pickup. If you haven't, you can check it out right here. It's a grand old time. Today we're looking at the electric guitar plugins that Universal Audio makes. Signal path is very simple today. I'm using the Strandberg Boden OS 7 with EMG 707X pickups for all the rhythm tones, and my Ernie Ball Music Man John Petrucci JP7 with Elysian tuned aperture pickups for all the leads. And both of those are going direct into my Universal Audio Apollo Twin Solo. Aside from the 4 different amp sims, we also used the authorized Ibanez Tube Screamer plugin in front of each of these amps. If a really metal tone is what you're looking for, the obvious choice is going to be the Engel E646VS. It's got the most tonal options, the most gain, and just the most balls-to-the-wall metal tone of the bunch. It was my personal favorite, and it's the one that I started with because I think for our audience, it's just the clear choice to make. I've never tried the hardware version of the Engel E646VS, so I can't speak to whether or not I found it realistic, but it does sound really good. And of all the Engel amps that I have tried, I think it might have the most controls, which I personally think is really important for dialing in your sound. The more control you have over it, the more likely it is that you'll be able to find your distinct voice within the amp. The award for the best lead tone goes to the Marshall Super Lead. Obviously, it's right there in the name. For rhythm guitar stuff, it's not really great for metal. The bass is a little too much. You can cut some of that out, and we did with the Tube Screamer, but there's something really magical about the lead tone in it, and it really stuck out to me. If you're going for like an AC/DC Angus Young kind of sound, the Marshall is dead on, and it will be well worth your money. The Friedmans were kind of a nice middle ground between the two. The Friedman BE100 is cool because it has both the BE and HBE inside of it. So if you were looking at it wondering, where's the Harry Brown eye? You gotta look a little deeper to find the Harry Brown eye, but there's a switch right on the front. It's got a lot of different tone options, lots of different switches, like a fat switch, bright switch, that kind of thing. So if you're looking for kind of a combination Marshall vintagey tone and sort of a more modern metal-y tone, that might be where it's at for you. I was surprised to discover that of the two Friedmans, I actually liked the DS40 better than the BE100. I found it to be a little bit crunchier, somewhat more accessible for harder stuff, which the hardware version I think is kind of the other way around. A lot of people use it for some very heavy stuff, and for some reason the amp sim version came across better as the DS40. I don't know. I've used several different Friedman amp sims in the past. This one might be the closest to the real deal. I'm not sure if that's necessarily a good thing, but if what you're looking for is what the amp manufacturer intended, but you don't want to spend the amount of money that it costs to get the real thing, and you're mostly just doing recording, this is definitely the more economical option. I found that the most drastic tone options come from the combination of cab IR and mics that they have preset within each amp. I found it a tiny bit limiting that the mic and cabs were sort of married to each other, and that each one was a completely different combination of the two. But there are a lot of very usable sounds in there, and with a little bit of experimentation, you can find the sound that you like. For my money, the Engel's where it's at. But I'm not spending my money today. You're spending your money. So if you've got some Universal Audio hardware and you want to try these out, they do offer short trial periods on these amps. So you can try them out before you buy them. If you want to do that and get some more information, just head over to uaaudio.com. I also really recommend their hardware. I've got the Apollo Twin Solo over here. It's super great, very simple, reasonably priced, very hard to beat. Thanks for watching, and please be sure to subscribe for more reviews and original content.